Hey everyone, this is Dikshak Bhatt from Team OYG. I welcome you all in this another interesting session. And today we have a wonderful speaker, Ms. Ridhika Puliani from clinical dietitian with us. She would guide us on the topic of supplementation and requirements for pre and post workouts. Ridhika Puliani ma'am has done the Masters in Food and Science Nutrition, working in an MNC that deals with the post-surgery patient and it well versed in lifestyle diseases. Motto is to anything eaten in moderation, which is healthy for always good for the good mind, body, and soul. I welcome you, ma'am, on this virtual platform, and thank you for joining with us and giving us your time. Now, without a further ado, I would like you to take over and spread your knowledge with us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Dixit. Thank you for the introduction.
I hope
So,
I haven't missed anything in your introduction.
no, not at all. This is perfect. Yeah, we can start now. You can start the presentation.
All right, ma'am. I'll just share the screen. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, okay, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll be talking about three different things very briefly today. The first one being a balanced diet. Now, whenever we talk about a balanced diet, it means that, including every aspect and every food group in your diet on a daily basis in every meal that you intake. Okay. So the first one would be carbohydrates. Okay. When we talk about carbohydrates are basically of two types. One is simple and one is complex. We generally tell our patients or anyone in general to have complex carbohydrates on a daily basis. So this would include stuff like brown rice or just normal rice also, wheat, barley, all kinds of millets like jowar, ragi. All these things come under complex carbohydrates. Whereas all kinds of processed items like fried chips or candy bars or chocolates, all these things will come under simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates form a major part of the diet, especially in an Indian scenario. So that is the first thing that you should include. The serving size of a complex carbohydrate is maybe say 30 grams of rice if you're having rice, or one chapati or two chapatis, depending on the size of the chapati that you eat. So that is about carbohydrates. The second food group is basically protein. Protein in general is a very, very important aspect of anyone's diet. It's not just, having meat products like chicken or fish, but also other vegetarian protein like we have soya, we have even quinoa or broken wheat, anything, even dal, sambar, your regular food intake also includes protein. Okay. So that is about protein. And the third thing is your fats. Okay. Now, again, talking about fats, not all fats are bad. Okay. Fats basically have a very bad, people have a very bad opinion about fats, especially when it comes to fats. But there are also good fats like omega 3s and omega 6s, which are basically found in fish or even your seeds and nuts. Okay, so these are major sources of fats that should be consumed on a regular basis, especially, they are very, very good for your heart. They are very, very good for your energy sources. Okay, so apart from your carbs, even fats form a very important part of your diet on a daily basis. Okay, now the next thing moving on to would be vitamins and minerals, which is very obviously going to be our fruits and vegetables. Now, fruits and vegetables are one of the very, very important sources which contain a lot of vitamins and minerals. They are packed with vitamins. And it also depends on the way that you're eating it, on the way that you're cooking it and eating it. That basically forms a very important part when it comes to your fruits and vegetables in specific. Now, having a fruit juice on a daily basis will not give you enough fiber as a whole fruit. Okay, so it depends on the way you're consuming the fruit. And at the same time, when you're having your vegetables, okay, vegetables, again, the same thing. If you're overcooking the vegetables, be it, even if it is shallow frying or even if it is steaming them or, cooking them, so you should never overcook it because most of the fruits and vegetables will always contain a lot of water soluble vitamins in them. So if you overcook them, you will have a huge loss of your vitamins and minerals goes off in that. Okay. So it is very important not to overcook them, consume them as, just a shallow fry, or just, partially steam them and have them. So that's one of the best ways to have it. Apart from this, even our daily sabjis that we have with our rotis or our dal chawal, even that is a very important thing to have. You can also consume our vegetables in the same form. Again, do not overcook it. Do not keep reheating the same vegetables again and again, because there will be a huge loss of your vitamins and minerals in that. Okay. Now coming to the dairy part of it, now there is a lot of controversy when it comes to your dairy products. Okay, especially when it comes to milk. Now, there are people called as lacto intolerant, or people who cannot digest milk very easily. So such people should not consume milk on a regular basis. But for the general normal population, milk is a very good source of calcium, and I would advise people to have milk on a regular basis, only if it is not causing any kind of digestive issues with them. Apart from that, under dairy, again, we have curd. Now, curd is an extremely rich source of probiotics, which is very good for your gut. You can have curd on a daily basis at least once, mainly maybe include it for your lunch or for your mid meal. Okay, you can have it either as curd or as buttermilk also. Okay, so this is about the main sources of the food. Okay, you can go on to the next slide. Okay, so this, as I explained, okay, now you can see this. This concept is what is called as the my plate concept, okay, wherein you will see that there is a part of grains, there is a part of protein, there's a part of vegetables, a part of fruits, as well as a part of dairy, okay. So this is like a typical, a typical way that your plate should look on a daily basis, okay, be it any meal that you're taking, either it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, anything it is, it should always be a balanced meal. Okay, there is, when it comes to food, there is nothing good or bad. Okay, food is food, and one should understand that. And just follow this on a regular basis, and you'll see amazing changes in your body. Yeah. The next one. So this is one more example of the Mediterranean diet. Now, Mediterranean diet basically started off first in Europe, okay, wherein people over there consume a lot of fish, they consume a lot of wine, and such things. But you will see that they will never have any heart problems as such. Okay, so the reason for that is basically whatever food that they are consuming is extremely organic. There is very less use of pesticides in the foods that they consume over there. Okay, so this is one pyramid of the Mediterranean diet, which gives you a very brief example of all kinds of food groups and when to consume all of them. Okay, so you can see there's sweets and red meat. Even for that, you should be consuming it monthly, or maybe in small amounts if you're taking it on a weekly basis. Then there is dairy, eggs, and poultry, again, daily to weekly. We have fish and seafood a few times per week. Again, fish and seafood, extremely rich source of calcium and omegas. Okay. Then we have olive oil. Now, olive oil, when it comes to olive oil, again, we Indians nowadays are using too much of olive oil, which is not really needed. It depends on the country you belong to. It depends on the place that you're brought up in. Okay. So when it comes to India, it is very important to stick to the basics. Maybe have ghee or have coconut oil, or any kind of other oil on a regular basis, rather than saying that olive oil is good because of the hype that it has caused. And again, you can have it on a daily basis. Then we have fruits and vegetables. Again, daily servings have to be there. Then we have cereals, beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds. All of these, again, daily servings have to be there. Okay, so this is a basic about the balanced diet. The next thing. Okay, now coming to the need for supplements. Okay, now supplements, again, a lot of people take supplements nowadays on a regular basis without really consulting dietitians on it, or even if not dietitians, just consult your regular doctor, and he will tell you what is required and what is not required. Okay, so personally, I would say that if you have a balanced diet, you will never need supplements. But if there is a certain kind of a deficiency that you have, especially when it comes to vitamin D, vitamin D is one very prominent deficiency that is seen in most of the Asians nowadays. Okay, so that is something that you can take on a regular basis. Again, the dosage will depend as per whatever the doctor has told you to take it as. And apart from this, there's iron deficiency, there's folic acid deficiency. We also see calcium deficiency in older women nowadays. Okay. So all these are deficiencies when you should be taking your supplements. You should not be taking it, as a meal replacement, especially as a meal replacement. That should never happen. And, mainly it will be considering vulnerable groups, like we have old age, we have pregnancy, we have nursing mothers, or we have people who are malnourished, okay, or who are lactating, okay. So all these things will come under the vulnerable groups who will need these supplements. Again, if you're an athlete, or if you work out on a regular basis, your workouts are extremely heavy, or maybe you're going to compete in some kind of a bodybuilding competition or something like that. Okay, so in such cases, you take vitamins. You take supplements. It's justified, but do not take it on a regular basis, especially not as meal replacements. Always stick to the basics. Always make sure that you're having a balanced diet. Okay. Okay. The next slide. Yeah. Okay. Now coming to the third part of it, we have this something which is called as the pre and the post workout. Okay. Now pre workout is basically the food that you should be consuming before your workout, and post workout is something that you should be consuming after your workout. Now pre-workout basically should be, any kind of food that is very rich in glucose. Okay. Now glucose is nothing but carbohydrates. Now, it can be either just carbs, maybe say one banana, or it can also be a bread toast. It can also be peanut butter with bread, which is a mix of carbs and protein. You can also include oats, which is again a very, very good source of carbohydrates as well as fiber. Okay, so these are certain examples of a pre-workout. It is basically to ensure that it gives you enough energy for your workout, and to ensure that the body has enough glucose to use up during your workout. So what happens is, if you have enough of carbohydrates in your body, then your protein is going to be spared. Okay. So if you do not have enough amount of carbohydrates, what happens is the body starts using up the protein which is there in your muscles. Okay, so that should not happen. Because of which it is very important to ensure a good amount of carbohydrates in your food before you go for any workout. Okay. Now that is again, then the third thing is not to feel any kind of fatigue or not to feel lethargic, because glucose is the first fuel, okay, fuel or energy source to your body. So that is the first one. If that is not available, then the body moves on to protein and then to fat. That's how it works. Okay, so it's very important to to consume enough amount of glucose or carbohydrates before your workout. Secondly, coming to your post workout, again during your workout you would have gone under some kind of a muscle tissue damage, or some kind of a muscle breakdown or something like that during your workout. Okay, so in order to ensure that the repairing of the muscles is happening regularly, it is very important to consume a source that is rich in protein soon after your workout. Okay, now that would include your eggs, it would include protein powder. If you're comfortable with protein powder, only then you take a protein powder, because as per my experience, a lot of people have undergone a lot of digestive issues because of consuming protein powders. Okay, so it's very important that you know what kind of protein powder suits you, and you should also make sure that you go to the right person in order to make sure that you're taking the right kind of protein powder for your body. And again, there are other examples like nuts, eggs. Even people who consume chicken on a regular basis can also have chicken. Okay, especially if your workouts are towards the evening, you can always go and have dinner as chicken. Okay, soon after your workout. So this is about the post-workout, wherein it ensures the recovery of muscles. It gives enough protein to make sure that the muscle repair is complete. And thirdly, enough muscle build in the form of amino acids should also be there, along with a complete protein source should be taken in soon after your workout is done. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
It was a nice presentation, ma'am. We loved it. Actually, there are several questions I wanted to ask for you regarding your presentation. Ma'am, what are your thinking about the cheat day? Because cheat day is nowadays common. So, how would you guide on that?
Okay, see, cheat day, first of all, I don't believe in. following extreme diets. Okay, if you're following a diet, you should start following the diet. Okay, you should not look for a day, where you have a cheat day and you eat everything. You're basically compensating for the whole week's diet. So
Um,
yeah,
yeah, continue.
yeah. So I would say, include all foods that you like, but include it in moderation. Don't have an outlook towards dieting like it's a punishment. Okay, that should not be the idea of it. You should always make sure that you're mentally very calm. Even if you're following a diet, you should be mentally calm. You should be at peace. So if you're talking about cheat days and this and that, okay, you can always have a cheat, but I would say that include the same foods that you would eat on a cheat day in moderation throughout the week. So you don't have to look forward to only that day. Because what happens is, if you control yourself too much while dieting, you will end up eating the double amount of food you would eat generally, right? So
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
yeah, so maybe you can just put that chocolate or the chocolate ice cream or whatever throughout the week. Just include it once when you feel like eating it. Yeah.
Another thing I myself faced is when I reach to home and when the parents are there, they should not allow you to follow the diet. They, force you to follow. It's Indian family, so sweets should be there and everything. So how would you, guide us on a diet? Because balancing a diet afterwards is little bit harder because once you break the diet and then continue the diet, it's little bit harder for. So how would you guide on that?
You see, again, I would say the same. Even if they're forcing you to eat sweets and stuff, okay, you can go ahead and you can eat a little bit of it at that time, and just have enough of self control to be like, no, I don't want to eat it. Just stand up for yourself and say you don't want it. Yeah.
Ma'am, one thing I wanted to ask is that is there any particular recipe or something you would like to guide us on that? Because a personalized recipe or something, if you want to share with us.
Okay, see, especially when it comes to sweets, okay, because I myself love sweets, okay, and it becomes a little difficult to control yourself when you're around sweets and you have a sweet tooth, right? So what I generally do is I replace, the same recipe I replace with other nutritious foods. Okay, like for example, I feel like eating a chocolate cake. Okay, now instead of using maida, I will go ahead and I will use a little bit of wheat and a little bit of ragi, and I would mix both of them and make a chocolate cake out of it and then eat it. Okay. So things like that. And if you're asking me for a recipe, there is one recipe that I regularly make, an energy ball recipe, sweet. So I don't even crave for later on. Okay. So what I generally do is I take like 10 to 12 almonds. Okay. And then I take a few dates, maybe 2 to 5 dates, and then maybe say 3 to 4 figs, the dry figs. Okay. And a full big spoon of flaxseed powder. Okay. And I mix up all these things in a mixer grinder, and it becomes like a sticky paste, and then I just take a little bit of it and I make balls of it. And, if you want, you can add some desiccated coconut around it, and do that and then have it. That's it. It's very simple, and it satisfies the sweet tooth also.
And we will take note of this and we'll definitely gonna try this one.
Yeah, yeah. So
Ma'am, one thing I wanted to ask that how you build your rapport with your patients because as a V doctor, even I face it when I prescribe a diet to a person. So in starting, they were following it, but sticking to diet, it's hard for them. And how to guide them on that is that as we are aspiring doctors, so we doesn't know how to. If you can guide us on that, it would be better.
basically, you should include foods that they like. Okay, throughout,
Ma'am, but
like
the issue is that if I ask them, oh, what you wanted to, then it will be no, you change it this one because I cannot eat this one. Then you change it. So almost half of that would be the change after if I ask them. So how would I manage that?
okay, see, first of all, you have to motivate them and you should encourage them and tell them that you're doing good to your body, right? You're doing it for yourself, not for anyone else, correct? And you give them, maybe say you give them short-term goals, and tell them, okay, for this one week, you don't eat it. after this 1 week, one day I'll give you, you eat it in that, and things like that.
Yeah.
Say if he wants to eat, maybe say he loves burgers or a pizza. Okay. So what you can do is throughout the week, one day for dinner, you include the pizza, you include the burger. Okay. So that way, even the person who's eating it will be very happy. Correct. And the next thing what you can do with clients is just make them follow a very diet for 3 to 4 days, and then on the fifth day for dinner or for lunch you include what they like. Okay. So after eating them, they'll only come to you and they're like, I'm feeling guilty. I shouldn't have eaten it. Okay. So from the next time onwards, they themselves will be very careful and they won't eat it then. Yeah.
I will try that one because I face because now, right now I'm prescribing as I'm an intern right now, so I'm trying to build a rapport with the patients and everything around my community. So this is the issue I faced.
Okay. Get
That
no get personal level as well. That helps a
yeah.
lot. Yeah. Like get to know what they like, what they don't like, how their family is. Get to know them on a personal level. That really helps a lot.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, one question is that how you check up with the latest researches and everything? Because even I myself, that there are so many researches, and how to cope up with that? Because some researches are good and some we don't even need it. So how you check on that?
See, when I have to check it depends on my client's needs. Say if the client comes and asks me, can I have milk? Can I have wheat? Recently, actually, that happened is there was this thyroid patient that I had got, and basically in thyroid, you're supposed to restrict millets. Okay, and this was something that I did not know before. And that is when I started researching about it and reading up about it. And I got to know that it's just ragi and jowar that should be taken, but the other millets can be taken in a normal quantity. So I keep up like that. And I keep reading up about stuff every now and then on Google. Or right now, I've started doing my PhD. So even for that, I have been reading up a lot on gut health and stuff like that. And I love reading books on nutrition. So that's something that helps me keep up with the knowledge all the time. Yeah.
Ma'am, can you recommend us some books for the our knowledge and everything? Uh,
Okay, there is this one book called Mind and Gut Health.
okay.
Mind and Gut Health. That is one book. Then there is this one book that I started reading called Brain Food. This one. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is one more book that I've started reading. So this is really on Alzheimer's patients, Parkinson's patients, and what kind of food can they take in order to stop the stop the degradation of the brain that's happening. And it's a very nice book. You can read this as well. There are also books by Luke Coutinho, even by Rujita Devakar. I don't know if you heard of her. Yeah. So even her books are very nice. And yeah, so I keep reading a lot of books like this. Yeah. Even I've also read a book on Ayurveda very recently. Everything
Yeah.
about, yeah. So
Ayurvedic diets and everything.
yeah.
Ma'am, one question is, what are your thinkings about naturopathy and clinic diets about naturopathy? Because we are all naturopathy community, mainly naturopathy students are here. So, what are your thinking about naturopathy and yoga, especially?
See, it's basically when you talk about naturopathy and yoga, it's more of a mental state. You guys look at more of peace of mind and self healing of the body and all of that, right? So I feel it's a very good concept, very very nice thing because I personally believe that if you're at peace in your mind, okay, then even if you're eating the worst food, your body will still remain fine. Okay, so it's basically saying that everything is in your head. And if you believe
Yeah.
that your itself, then there is nothing like it. If you really start believing that, it's a very good thing.
Actually, our study even says that the 70% disease can be cured through diet. So that is why the diet is the most important element in naturopathy as well.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, last question from my side. Do you have anything, tips or suggestions or anything to our aspiring doctors you would like to suggest or guide something? Because your experience and knowledge is very much helpful for us.
Yeah. So I would just say that, on a regular basis, right, like thousands of opinions and thousands of controversies happening around you with regards to food. Okay. And mainly, nowadays the trend is stop drinking milk, cut out gluten, okay, things like that. Okay, so you have to very well be versed about your own knowledge about your own thing, because I feel that in this field, especially, every dietitian or every nutritionist or every doctor basically has his or her own views as to how they would want to treat. Okay. So just be confident about your own methods, about your own self, and don't take too many opinions at once. Don't take too much of suggestions from a lot of people at once. Okay, just stick to what you know, stick to what you believe in, and treat your patients according to what you feel is right. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a really a lovely session with you, and we would like to connect with you in future if we had a time and if we can meet personally. Because right now this is the condition, so we are just doing the online sessions. But we hope to see you soon with our team and everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.